May 22, 2017. Most secret grand jury in American history paralyzes Washington with fear. An intriguing Foreign Intelligence Service (SVR) report circulating in the Kremlin today states that the most secret federal grand jury ever empaneled American history has paralyzed Washington, D.C. with fear after it swiftly moving this past Friday, 19 April, to claim its first Hillary Clinton victim just hours before President Donald Trump left the United States on his historic trip to Saudi Arabia. Note: some words and/or phrases appearing in quotes in this report are English-language approximations of Russian words, phrases having no exact counterpart. According to this report, federal grand juries in America have a maximum of 23 members, 16 of whom must be present to form a quorum, and indictments are returned by a vote of 12 or more members whose information, evidence presented to them is done by what are called United States attorneys, who are that nation's chief criminal and civil law prosecutors, all of whom are supposed to believe that no one is above the law. Being led by June H. Kim, the acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, this report continues, the secrecy of this federal grand jury was so complete it was able to indict, achieve the arrest of, and conviction, of a top Hillary Clinton surrogate and former U.S. Congressman named Anthony Weiner in less than 24 hours with no leaking to the U.S. mainstream propaganda media, and was so rapidly accomplished. Weiner's wife, and Hillary Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin, didn't even know what was occurring, and 2 hours after Weiner pled guilty, filed for divorce against him. Having agreed to a plea deal where he agreed not appeal his up to 2-year U.S. federal prison sentence for the crime of sexting with a 15-year-old girl child, and his further agreeing to be listed as a sexual offender for the rest of his life, this report details the unprecedented speed of Anthony Weiner's demise. This past Friday showed his being arrested, appearing in U.S. federal court, pleading guilty to his crimes, and then released on bail until his final September 2017 sentencing, all occurred in the span of 2 hours. As to the incredible secrecy and speed in which Anthony Weiner was processed by President Trump's Department of Justice, DOJ, this report explains, is believed to be due to his becoming a witness to Hillary Clinton crimes and before he could be suicided or killed, and as evidenced by U.S. Attorney June Kim only asking for a 21-27 prison sentence, as opposed to the 10-year sentence Weiner was facing. Aiding U.S. Attorney June Kim in the unprecedented rapid arrest, prosecution and conviction of Anthony Weiner, this report further details, was William F. Sweeney, Jr., who is the Assistant Director in charge of the New York office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and who prior to his present posting was the Special Agent in charge of Philadelphia, that is the location the SVR had previously identified, on 13 May. Had been put on alert to prepare for at least 23 high-security political defendants being placed in the Federal Detention Center, FDC, located in that city. Important to note about FBI Assistant Director William Sweeney, Jr., this report says, was that in late 2015 he was preparing to present evidence before a federal grand jury proving that both Hillary Clinton and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, were integral parts and the main beneficiaries of a massive green energy Ponzi scheme that funneled millions of dollars into the Clinton Foundation money laundering organization using a scheme concocted by their close friend and associate Troy Ragg. In late 2015, this report continues, FBI agent in charge William Sweeney Jr. was refused by then FBI Director James Comey to further investigate the Clintons as a few months prior to Troy Ragg and his criminal associates being indicted, Hillary Clinton had announced she was running to be U.S. president, and that Comey said he wasn't going to have the FBI interfere with to placate, subdue FBI agent in charge William Sweeney Jr. after he had stopped his criminal investigation into the Clintons. This report continues. Last July, 2016, FBI Director Comey elevated him to be the assistant director in charge of the New York field office, but shortly after President Trump was sworn into office, Sweeney Jr. approached then U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York Preet Bharara to reopen the Clinton investigation, which Bharara refused to do and led to Trump firing him on 11 March. With Bharara now gone, this report says, President Trump elevated June H. Kim to be the acting U.S. Attorney and work with Sweeney Jr. on the Clinton investigation, and whose first targets for prosecution were Anthony Weiner and his wife Huma Abedin, but that FBI Director Comey attempted to derail on 3 May when he testified before the U.S. Congress that Abedin was not criminally charged even though she sent classified emails to her husband, and that led President Trump to firing him 6 days later on 9 May. Central to FBI Director Comey's protection scheme to keep the Clintons and their criminal associates from being prosecuted, this report explains, was his bizarre legal theory that intent first had to be established before anyone could be prosecuted, but who was directly opposed by now acting U.S. Attorney June H. Kim, who in prosecuting some of America's most notorious mafia and Asian gangs stated that intent didn't matter in criminal prosecutions, only if a crime had been committed. Important to note about June H. Kim too, this report details, is that he is well known in the Kremlin for his work on behalf of Russia when he was a top lawyer for the international law firm Cleary Gottlieb Steen and Hamilton, and though based in New York City, this organization of some of the top attorneys in the world has been named 8 times as the Russian law firm of the year, most especially when Kim and his international arbitration legal team successfully protected the federation, between 2010 to 2013, from a French lawsuit seeking damages for unpaid bonds issued over 100 years ago. To how June H. Kim was picked by President Trump to lead the prosecution of the Clintons and their criminal associates, this report further notes, was accomplished through negotiations between Cleary Gottlieb Steen and Hamilton managing partner Michael Eggers-Tenzing and one of his most powerful clients named Henry Kravis, who as a co-founder of the American multinational private equity firm Kohlberg Kravis Roberts and Company, KKR, was interviewed by President Trump to be his U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. With some quarters in America praising President Trump's actions in keeping criminals such as the Clintons from taking over the presidency, this report concludes, this nation's mainstream fake news propaganda media, nevertheless, continues trying to hide the Clintons' assassination murder of Seth Rich for his leaking tens of thousands of Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton emails to WikiLeaks, and that led Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to compare the U.S. media to those of Soviet communist times by his stating, "I sometimes get the impression that many U.S. media outlets work according to a principle which was common in the Soviet Union. Back then, people used to joke that the newspaper Pravda, Truth, had no truth in it, and the Izvestia, news, paper has no news in it. I get the impression that many U.S. media operate in the same way."